Energía Hoy. So we thank them for that opportunity. And we'll talk about that at the end of this webinar presentation. So without any further delay, let's talk about ISME for just a minute. For those of you who are not familiar, most of you are, but if you're not, you need to know just a few things about who we are. For the last almost 5 years, we have been serving as the permanent forum where business, government, and academia come together. And what we do is knowledge sharing. And our objective is really to help Mexico and its energy sectors grow and be successful. So the participants in our organization are companies and associations who become partners, and individuals, professionals who are members. That's how we differentiate the two, partners and members who come from all sectors of the industry, as you can see. And we are here to make a difference in different ways as we participate. So with that, today in the presentation, I'll be presenting alongside Andrea Calo, who is a Vice President of ISME, and we will be taking you to two main points of the agenda. But before I get to the agenda, I wanted to just give you a quick recap of some of our recent accomplishments as an organization. And if you know an ISME member or ISME partner, please congratulate them for what we have been able to accomplish, especially recently. I'm not going to read them all, but for 5 years, many meetings nonstop. That's a huge accomplishment. Our website is not just for information. It's got a member directory. It's got monthly market reports for you in a very highlighted way, as well as a library, and you can register for meetings. And our two chapters, which most of you are familiar with, we have a new committee, and you're going to hear more announcements on committees very soon, as well as the executive roundtables that were held last year, which you will hear more about in this webinar, and two more announcements to be made. So our agenda is short and sweet. Andrea will take us through the summary and conclusions of the executive roundtable, discussions that were held last year at the Agave Business School in September. Very successful, very dynamic meeting where people went to work. You'll hear about that. Number two, the actions that we are going to be taking going forward to make something happen, not only to have conversations about them, but also to put something on the table that benefits the industry. And last, we'll talk about upcoming events. So with that, I'll give the baton to Andrea.
Thank you, Noé. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So as Noé said, I am going to talk to you for a little bit about our Investing in Mexico Executive Roundtables. We're going to start out by looking a little at the background, what led us to have these meetings, who participated, and what the work method was. After that, we're going to look at the main conclusions grouped by oil and fuel sectors and natural and gas and electricity sector that they arrived to. And to end, we're going to look at the consolidated summary, the themes that repeatedly came up at each of these tables. So let's start out with a little bit of background of the ERTs, which are the executive roundtables. So as you know, ISME, if anything, is an educational forum. And for the past 5 years, as Noé has explained, we've been offering a space where people could exchange best business practices and where investors could connect with everything Mexico energy related and acquire knowledge of that. So given the situation that arose with the incoming administration and the potential for a change in what was the current energy policy, we felt that there was a need for a permanent forum for dialogue among the government, with companies, with NGOs, and with academia. We, as an international society, felt that we were very well positioned to become the voice of energy companies that are investing in Mexico today. So with the help of embassies and with international chambers of commerce, we decided to invite companies that are currently investing in the Mexico energy arena for a conversation to discuss what the benefits of foreign direct investment in the country were for the Mexican people and for the economy. So as a result, 45 companies accepted to participate in this activity, and over 60 of their executive senior managers participated in this event. So they went to the Agave Business School where we worked. So how did we work? As they arrived, the participants were divided into groups representing each of the 4 energy sectors: oils, fuels, electricity, and natural gas. And each executive was handed a questionnaire to which they responded in writing, and the comments were later discussed in groups facilitated by ISME members. The tenets of the meeting were that Chatham House rules applied, and they were asked to comment and to reflect on the benefits of foreign direct investment to the country, and not to present claims, demands, or recommendations to the new administration. The questions they were asked are these. So what were the top 3 benefits for Mexico of FDI in each of their sectors? What the specific benefits for Mexican people were from the investments in each of the sectors? What the 3 main goals each of their companies aspires to achieve within the next 6 years, and how these goals, if reached, would impact services and prices in the medium to long term for the people. So we're going to take a look at what were identified as current and future benefits of investment by international companies, starting out with the oils and fuel sectors. So in oil, increased chances of discovering new reserves and production, more access to capital, the potential to produce greater volumes, more barrels, and to do more work simultaneously, a rescued value chain, development of communities and reactivation of social plans for oil field towns, more competition for Pemex, it's forcing it to be more efficient, better health, safety, and environment practices to all. So as we can see, they're not merely economic benefits, direct economic benefits, but also benefits to the community as a whole, translated into reactivation of life in oil field communities, as well as better work conditions for employees in these companies as a result of technology and new international practices being brought in. As far as fuels, we've got more options for consumers, greater tax revenue for the state, more jobs, reduced gasoline imports, and new infrastructure and technology to foster greater efficiency. Let's take a look at the current and future benefits identified for natural gas and electricity sectors. So in natural gas, industrial consumers having access to lower natural gas prices, the creation of the Senagas, the national system operator, giving way to more transparency, infrastructure, expansions of the natural gas system, liberalization of the prices, technological innovations, new solutions, energy security has increased domestic production possibly in the future. So again here, what we're seeing is a repetition of what we saw before. There are only betterments to what the sector can provide. Industrial consumers will lower gas prices. This is going to trickle down to consumers as well. Expansions of the natural gas system, considering that over 80% of natural gas consumed in Mexico is imported. This is an immediate need. So in electricity, new and more efficient power plants, new clean energy capacity being installed. Much of this is a result of the 3 very successful long-term auctions that cleared at record low prices. Regulatory transparency as never before seen in the award of these contracts. Reliability of supply, there is less need for the government to have to centralize the design of this installation of new capacity. Health benefits for the population, this is an important one. It's associated with lower emissions due to the installment of new renewable energy. Greater options for wholesale market participants for large users, as well as grid modernization and much needed expansions. So again, what we can see here is overall benefits for all of the population, seen not only economically in lower prices or the expectation of lower prices for them, less strain on the government, but also health improvements due to better and more efficient power plants. So as far as the themes that repeatedly came up in each of these tables, greater transparency. This leads to less corruption, and this supports the new administration's campaign promise to eliminate corruption. More competition, international companies coming in, competing against each other. This leads the way to them bringing in technology and transfer of this technology, training as well the local labor force. This produces the development of national content. So greater local manufacturing of products, greater participation of local companies rendering services, and more skilled local labor. Creation of jobs all around the country in all of its states. In order to do all this, companies have to be more efficient to render these services, which trickles down to and translates into improved quality of services for the people. And all of this ends up strengthening the value chain. So how is ISME going to use the conclusions arrived to by the input received by these executives? So we're going to act on this feedback, and we're going to contribute to these efforts. The conclusions of the roundtables will be sent to all of you in the form of an executive summary. The summary was prepared taking into account the responses at each of the tables for each of the sectors. It's been translated into English, and you will be receiving a copy both in Spanish and in English. The full version of the report will be published and announced in the month of March. And going forward, our forums in Mexico City and in Houston are going to dive deeper into these key issues and recommendations that were identified by the executives. Now, to this point, in our opinion, one of the main benefits of foreign direct investment to Mexico and its people in the energy sector has to do with strengthening the value chain. And in this respect, this is why we're going to be launching a new service as a way of contributing to the energy sector. And we believe that this is going to be an invaluable tool for any company that's currently investing in the Mexico energy arena or that wishes to do so. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Noé, who's going to talk a little bit about this.
Thank you, Andrea. And I guess what I'd like to continue saying is that this session was so successful. We want to thank everybody who participated. It was such a successful dynamic within that session that this report, this summary, is just the beginning. As Andrea mentioned, we found the conclusions, we captured those, I should say, and this is the beginning, not just a publication, but it's really a call to action. And as an organization, we want to do something about it, not only talk about it. We will continue to have this dialogue, diving deeper into these areas of opportunity in our future forums. Now, the main need that was recognized is the need for strengthening the value chain. To that effect, what we will be doing going forward is put something on the table that can help the energy value chain of Mexico, either locally or globally, in the form of a new platform that can help make things easier for everyone. So I'll talk about that briefly next. But also, our first global forum, it'll be very soon, and we'll talk about when that's going to be and how you guys can participate in that. So I am excited to introduce the Mexico Energy Hub. This is our new platform, and let's see what this is about very briefly. If you consider a sophisticated system that we're bringing to the table, these are the things that you can read on your own. And again, this is being recorded, so I don't need to read all of this, but in essence, is an online directory that allows every organization, company or otherwise, to have a microsite. What's the difference from a typical directory? It's huge. So we invite you to take a look at what we have for you. Now, if you look at this, what's going to be available for you is something like this. This is our platform. And if you look at what we have here, it's pretty much, you can see ISME is connected right now. So you can find by specialty. Now we are an association and we cover all energy sectors, right? And so if you search, you're going to find right now only us, because this is new. This is for you guys to help us populate this. Now, we're going to go step by step explaining how this is going to work, but just briefly, this microsite will allow you to have your organization, it's in a company or a government office or an association or a university, to have your microsite showing not only what you do and who you are, but also details that can be expanded. And by specialty, you can post events, you can have photos and videos. Now, you can be contacted securely. So your email is now shown here. I don't know if you can tell, but you cannot see an email. You can be contacted securely via the site. Now, if you go and look for, say, just to give you another example really quick, let's just say an engineering company. Let's just talk about my company really quick, just to show you how you can have your own microsite as a company. And so you can see either a photo or a video about your company. Let's see. Here's the profile. There you go. So it's really back to ISME. I wanted to show you this a little better and things like that. So in essence, going back to the presentation, give us just a second. Yes. So what we are going to do is offer this platform for our partners and members, the companies of our members only. Initially, this is free for this first phase. This is a beta phase where we're pre-launching this new service for our ISME partners and members to register their companies and organizations so they can be found and they can find other organizations and easier connect. So this information, this platform, I should say, is available for free until February 14th. More information can be found at the actual website for you guys. Now, if you have questions, please put it on the text box so we can address it. Okay, so we talked about actions going forward. The first one we're bringing to the table is this Mexico Energy Hub. Okay, and the second is our global forum, which is as important, if not more. And we are excited to announce our first global forum that will happen on March 19th. It's an afternoon only, so it's not your typical conference. This is going to be a different format. We're excited to announce it. Please save the date, and registration will be opening next week on our website. So with that, we promise to be short, and so we are going to be taking questions via the chat if you have any. Let's see.
Okay, so here's one question that came through. Has this summary been presented to the government?
That's a good question, and the answer is yes. Now, let's just clarify something. The plan here is for us not to just have one presentation. As you know, the government is not just one entity. So this is a process where we are going to have an ongoing dialogue with the new authorities, and also between companies ourselves in our forums. So we had already the first presentation with the director of ASEA, Luis Vera, last year, and he actually also gave us feedback on what's going to be the best way to interact. And so we will be doing, again, different types of presentations. This is not a one-time event. So the answer is yes, and it'll continue to be the case. The second question is, how are ISME meetings going to be different going forward? The meeting, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. The meetings are going to be really, we're going to continue to offer our meetings both in Mexico City and in Houston. So nothing changes there. But thanks to our Knowledge Management Committee, who has helped us to survey our membership to see what has the most value to them, we have learned that multi-sector meetings are very valuable to our membership, similar to the roundtables in September, where people not just come to listen, but also come to contribute. That is well appreciated. So you're going to see more of that for sure. And in fact, our next Houston meeting will be something similar to that. And so, if any more questions, please.
Okay, while you think, and we'll wait to see if anybody else asks something else. I just wanted to tell everyone that this week you will be receiving a copy of the executive summary in Spanish and in English. So look for that in your emails.
Okay, one more question is there a cost to join the Mexico Energy Hub? The answer is yes and no. No, if you're an ISME partner or ISME member, you can join for free between now and February 14th. We want this to get valuable for you right away. But then there's going to be a cost because of the development cost, the maintenance cost of this software, as you can imagine, to run it professionally. So there'll be a cost, and you can see the information at the website. Now, if you have more questions, please put it in the text box. And okay, another good question came up regarding ISME committees. And so some of you may already know that, well, as I mentioned, the Knowledge Management Committee was established last year. James Fowler from ISIS leads that committee, and you can actually see on our website who else is part of that committee. And that is actually expanding, and they are at work organizing for new sector committees. And you will be hearing from James and team about that very soon. But just know that each sector will be represented by these committees, so you as a member of ISME can participate and contribute throughout the year, not only when we have meetings, but also throughout the year with your sector committee. So thank you for the question. So another good question is here. Well, thank you for the kudos of the webinar. We appreciate that. And the question is, what are the targeted government audience and what reception has the new administration shown to date? As we mentioned, the second question, the reception has been very good, but it was just the beginning, as you can imagine. And so we believe that because of the tone of the presentation and our genuine interest in contributing and inviting them to our forums, not only to speak, but also to maybe listen to what the market has to say. We're very open to that, and we have gotten some good initial feedback about that. Now, as we learn, we will be also being in contact with our members, especially those who participated, for other opportunities as well. The other question was the targeted audience, government audiences. Well, it's going to be really the Senate, the lower house, representatives, the Secretaría de Energía, of course, and the deputy secretaries, I should say. And so all of those stakeholders will be asked to come to our forums. That's one way to interact. That's the easier for all of us, so we can also get to know them and develop a relationship. Again, with a tone of how can we strengthen Mexico's energy value chain together. We're here to add, not to replace, and also here to invite business community, government, and academia, as well as other associations. We as a society have the perfect profile to do that. We're not competing really with any other trade organization. Another question was, can you talk a little more? Well, thank you for the question about the sector committees. Yes, each committee will be representing the each of the sectors that were represented at the roundtables, which is upstream oil, midstream or natural gas, downstream or fuels, and electricity or power. So those four sectors will have its own committee at ISME, so you guys can, again, participate throughout the year. Now, you may be asking, what are these committees going to do? Because at ISME, we don't just meet just to chat. That's one thing. We network for sure. But also we want to contribute to the market. And for example, last year, a paper was published, an article on the World Pipelines magazine by the Knowledge Management Committee. You can look it up in our website. It was a very successful, short article, but very, very educational. So that's a little more, but you'll hear more from the KMC very soon. So there's other directories out there. Absolutely, this is we recognize that there's other options out there. So the more the merrier. We are here to help as much as we can. We believe that this sophisticated tool is going to be very valuable as well. If you see it as a valuable thing, please take a look, join us, become a member, so you can benefit as well. Now, here's the emphasis that I would say we need to make, not only as ISME leadership, but you as members. As you join this value chain or this energy hub, we want to invite the government organizations, agencies, offices at all levels, call it national, state, local, as well as associations and universities. I haven't seen that in many or in any directory, to be frank. So we can find easier when you're going to invest in a state. Maybe there's things the government wants you to know. So this is an opportunity for them. Now, for government organizations and associations, it will always be free. For them, if you're a government office or agency, if you're an NGO, if you're an association or a university, it'll be a free service. We just need to recover the cost somehow, so businesses after February 15th will pay a very small fee in comparison for what you get. Now, another difference, and I'm getting more questions, so thank you, about what other benefits. Maybe I was too short on my demo. I wanted to be brief, but we can definitely have another webinar just on that. But the beauty of the hub is that is a live microsite. Just imagine like having a LinkedIn profile, but much more robust for you to post photos, videos, and it's actually updatable anytime you want. So you can keep your investors, partners informed real time about your company, your new projects, new services, you name it. So this is not the typical directory that you pay once and you have to see your logo for a year and that's it. There's much more for you to take advantage of with this new hub. Now, regarding videos, I mean, the best part is that when you click on those videos, you can see them right there on your profile without having to leave the hub. So, since we have a little more time, we'll take a couple more questions. Okay, another question comes up, and thank you for the interest on the hub. Is this only for Mexican companies? Absolutely, yes and no. It is for Mexican companies. It is focused on Mexico, but this is for anybody, any company or organization who is involved in the Mexican energy value chain. If you're selling pumps from China, you want to be found on this hub. If you're a government office supporting your offices in Canada, you want to be found on the hub. Anywhere in the world and locally, this is the beauty of this new service or sophisticated directory for you guys. So thank you for a new question. How do you join ISME as a partner? We appreciate that question, and we would invite you to go to our website of ISME, which is at the bottom of the page right now, ismexicoenergy.org. And that way you can find about the benefits and how you can become an ISME partner as a company. Now, companies can become partners. Individuals are members. That's the distinction. So you can also find about membership registration information on the ISME website at ismexicoenergy.org. Another question is, can non-ISME members or partners join the ISME Energy Hub? Absolutely. Yes, you can. Yes, it'll have a nominal cost. Thank you for your support. That's definitely open to the public, but only until February 15th. Between now and the 14th, we are still in beta mode with our members only. We're tweaking a few things, as you might expect, like the iPhones, how many versions you have of iPhones. So this is the first version that we're excited to announce, so thank you for your interest. And let's see, another question. If you are not a partner, where's information? Okay, another question on becoming partners. Yes, definitely go to our eastmexicoenergy.org, and you can see the difference between being a leading partner versus a regular partner. It's just different benefits that you get from the membership level. Oh, another good question. Are positions available for the committees? Yes, and that is a good question, very timely. So we can incorporate that into our announcement. You have to be an ISME member, though, to join a committee. And so when you see the announcement, we'll put information there on how to participate in these committees very soon. Another question is ISME working with a Mexican organization to accomplish your goals? I'm glad you asked that question because we are working not only with one, but with several. See, because of our nature of as a society, we don't really compete with any trade organization. We are not a chamber. We're not a trade association. We are an educational forum in the form of an international society that is here to help with knowledge sharing. And that is a broad subject, I understand, but we're trying to be very specific in how we do things in our forums, and as you can tell now with our platform. So many organizations have joined us, like the cluster of Coahuila is one of the organizations that have joined us. We also have other organizations, international, like GCPA, the EIC, the Dutch Energy Association, and others. You can actually see them on our homepage. And not only them, but also media companies like Energía Hoy, who, as I mentioned, just to make sure we emphasize and we thank Energía Hoy for rebroadcasting this webinar recording via their magazine online. So look for that and share with others. We will appreciate that. We want this to be an opportunity for you to contribute in this effort, not just for us, but any ISME member or partner or part of the community will appreciate your support. So I think we have accomplished our goal today in less than 40 minutes, I think. So that feels good. And that way you want to join us next time, knowing that we're not going to be too long. And so with that, thank you for those who are congratulating us on the text. Thank you. If you have any more questions, feel free to email us at info@eastmexicoenergy.org for any suggestions, comments, ideas. We'll take everything into consideration, and we look forward to seeing you at our forum, Help Us Strengthen Mexico's Energy Value Chain. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Good day.